Oh, no. Oh, we should film it.
Oh my God, I believe in equal rights! Oh my God, I believe that
I don't believe in it.
homophobia shouldn't be allowed! Oh my God, I believe that white men shouldn't dictate a fucking woman's place in the world! You fucking douchebags! You misogynistic pieces of shit!
Trigger.
Okay.
You know the majority of women.
Maybe women are smarter than men, and that's why they vote socialist.
Maybe you.
Maybe you what?
Maybe smarter than you. Now,
I don't mind if a woman's smart. I don't feel threatened by a smart, intelligent woman.
Friends?
yeah, my wife.
You're
Stay at home. Is that why she's not here?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, like,
No, she raises the kids. Yeah.
oh, but I have to raise kids. If I have kids, I can't work.
You don't have to have kids. But if you have a kid, you gotta love the kid. You try to give him the best.
But do you love the kid?
Yeah, that's why my.
Do you work?
Yeah, that's my wife.
Okay, so why don't you raise them too?
Because my wife isn't home raising them.
I think you like Saudi Arabia.
Because I don't want them to go into a nursing, to have someone else raise them, and someone has to make the money.
Holy shit, can you check your privilege? Oh my God! This is literally absurd.
Let's go to daycare so some stranger can raise the kids, so they become socialists.
You are going back to the 1600s.
Everyone should have their kids at daycare.
You raise
Everybody. Right? They should take care of
Take them to daycare. Have someone else strangers.
You know that you can have other family members.
Do you know what the word privilege means? You stop interrupting me. I am a woman and I can talk to you.
Then
Stop interrupting me.
Then talk.
Okay, can you stop interrupting me?
Go ahead.
Okay. I want you to go home.
No.
That was an asshole.
Are you going to go visit your kids at home?
When it's time to go home, I will.
All right, so when you go visit your kids...
Not at daycare.
Sir,
I see you really hate daycare.
Please stop interrupting
I hate
me.
other raising people's kids, yeah.
Go ahead. You know, in Israel, they have a system of like on the kibbutzim, there's like, you know, communal raising.
Can you tell us why you're crying? No.
Something that worries you, know that statistically you're on the side of reason and justice and truth to believe someone who comes forward. But it is a well-known fact amongst victimologists that trauma affects your memory.
Traumatise or upset them. Of course, they're not really traumatised or upset, they're just upset that someone disagrees with them. In my view, anybody who asks for a trigger warning in a safe space should be immediately expelled. Demonstrated that they are incapable of fulfilling the requirements of their course. They have demonstrated that they are incapable of exposing themselves to new ideas. They have demonstrated that they are incapable of engaging in the humble pursuit of knowledge.
This crowd represents hatred!
You're for
Heteropatriarchy doesn't give a shit about any of us that are pushing back against it. I'm drowning in over $60,000 to $80,000 of debt. I can't even keep track anymore. And you know what? I'm going to say it right here. I'm not paying that shit off.
I am a feminist, communist, otherkin, non-binary, asexual YouTuber. Congratulations! Now you're ready to learn how you can better support trans people. White people are racist, all men are misogynistic, all cisgender people are transphobic, just as all men hold misogynistic views, and all white people are racist. And that means watch out for your stereotypes and cisnormativity. We're raised to believe that gender is based on biology. I've talked to my therapist about ways to avoid triggers. However, I also realize that the world is full of triggers.
I'm complaining about the gender stereotypes in toys, and it freaking pisses me off. Also, I'm not a feminist. I'm a human being that believes in equality. There's either that or there's sexist people. You can't say you're not a feminist and then say you're also not sexist. That's not a thing.
But it's really horrible when you think about it, because it's a woman having to earn respect rather than just having respect as a person.
Sexual violence on college campuses is an epidemic. Rutgers is leading the nation in the revolution to end campus sexual violence by insisting that we talk about sexual violence, and by making sure we listen when our students speak about what they experience here. We're committed to creating a community that's safe and supportive for every student, staff.
So we heard that this racist, anti-feminist, very bigoted speaker was coming to campus, and the fact that the meme said that when feminists get angry, they, speak out by putting menstrual blood on their faces or something like that. I think that if a male activist would have done the same thing, that wouldn't be a thing. I have control over my own body, as a woman. I'm not damaging anything by putting washable paint on my face.
I thought that there would be more support from the students, and there isn't. I don't feel comfortable around my peers. I feel really alone.
Hi, my name is Naima Wage. I'm an English major with a minor in political science. I'm a Gambian American Muslim. And I just recently transferred here from Rutgers Camden. And when I came to Rutgers University, it was a PWI, but I did romanticize it of what I thought it would be. But when I came, I was reminded of realistically what it is. And when I came here, I just questioned who I was, my blackness.
There's contradictions within Milo's speech in and of itself. So, for example, when Milo is talking about how there's no rape epidemic on campus, that rape essentially doesn't exist on college campuses, and obviously he's using entirely false facts. And yet at the same time we have a Rutgers administration who paints itself as very much concerned with the rape epidemic on campuses.
So the movement, the Million Student March, is a movement for a more equitable and fair system of education, as opposed to the really corporate model that we have right now. So the three core demands of the National Day of Action are free public college, a cancellation of student debt, and a $15 an hour minimum wage for people who work on the campus.
And how's that going to be paid?
Great question. So I'm not sure if you're talking on like a national level or at particular schools. I can sort of touch on both. At my university, Northeastern University,
someone asked to pick up the tab. Who would that be?
The 1% of people in society that are hoarding the wealth and really sort of causing a catastrophe that students are facing. I mean, we have a relationship right now where 1% of the population owns more wealth than the 99% combined.
All right, so if the 1%, Kelly, if the 1% just had their taxes raised a few years ago back to almost 40%, then to pay for the health care law, they had them raised another few percentage points. Then they had their deductions limited to raise another couple points, where depending on the state or locality, they're pushing over about 50% in taxes. How much higher do you think? How much more do you think they should pay?
I think enough until we have a system where not 1 in 2 American families are threatened with poverty.
So where do they go? Let's say if you tax them, they're smart folks, these people, these 1% hoarders, right? So if they leave here, then who's going to pay for all this stuff that you want?
If they leave
the country.
I mean, there's always going to be a 1% in the U.S. The U.S. is like the bastion of capitalism and its success, and I think
that... Do you think the 1% can pay for all of this?
Absolutely. 85 people in the world hold more wealth than half of the global population.
No, wait a minute.
I mean,
are we talking about 85 billionaires, or are you extending this to the 1%? Or whomever who earn a little bit north of $250,000. At what level, Keely, do you start saying you got to pay a hell of a lot more than you're paying now in taxes?
I mean, I think people earning, certainly people earning over $1 million a year should be contributing to the wellness of society.
If it's 50% now, let's say it's around 50% with taxes. We used to have a top rate of 90%. You think we should get back to that?
I mean, I think that eventually we will get back to that. I think eventually...
You're okay with that? Are some of your friends okay with that? Do some of them want to be successful themselves, and they'd be happy when they get to a level, maybe over 200,000, 250,000, they start paying 90% of taxes on that? They'll be happy with that?
absolutely. I mean, I think that
Keely,
people,
come on, you're talking to me here. Your friends are going to be happy getting to a point in their career when they can look outside and say, finally, I'm able to pay 90% in taxes.
Obviously, you know, people in your position, you know, don't want to pay 90% in taxes.
I dare say,
because,
unless you're high as a kite, you wouldn't volunteer to pay 90%, right? I mean, unless you really did see a considerable bang for the buck and it was worth it, right? But a lot of the times that you realize it's not worth it, and given some of the track records we've seen with government, it doesn't always work, right?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. But the reality is we have to look at the injustice of the system as it exists right now.
Then do you think maybe if everyone paid a little bit more for this, would you pay a little bit more for this, besides the rich, to pay for that it's worth it? That do you think these are good goals?
People already are paying for this.
No, I asked it differently. I asked you, would you, Keely, and your friends, and your mom, and your dad, and your family, would they happily pay more to provide all of these benefits you just outlined?
Of course, and we already are.
No. You just
graduating.
said to pay for some of the things you wanted, the rich should pay significantly more than they're paying right now. Now you're telling me...
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying.
Okay,
Everyone's already paying.
Well, they're not. I mean, now you're saying for these added benefits that you want, and they're fine benefits, don't get me wrong. You think your friends, their parents, your family would be happy to pay a little bit more to provide these guarantees and benefits.
I come from an incredibly working class family, and my family is already on numerous forms of government assistance and is basically scraping by, you know, in order to get me through college. I live in a world and I see a system around me where there's a population that's doing nothing to contribute to the progression of society. Education is really the only way that we have innovation, that we have.
Keely, I'm sure you sound very smart. You know what's going on. You mentioned what's going on in the world. You're probably aware what's happening in Greece and these other countries that provided all these benefits and then some, many of which you outlined very nicely here for us today. And they're going broke and they're out of money. And they don't know what to do. And their people are riding on the streets because they can't believe the money's gone and the benefits and the promises are gone.
Right.
What do you think?
I mean, yeah, there's a global catastrophe right now of complete defunding of social services and
because they ran out of money.
Of public,
you know what happened, Keely? They just ran out of money.
Yeah.
Right?
I understand, but there is a 1% in Greece. There's a 1% in the United States. There's a 1%. There's a ruling class in absolutely every.
I don't doubt there is, Keely. I don't doubt there is, but obviously they've been trying to tap them to get money from, and they realize either they don't have the money or they hid from the money. They're gone. They're gone. Yeah. And now these countries are going bust.
So then those people need to be accountable.
All right, fine, but they're smart and they're scurrying all over the globe. So now even if
they are, and that's a problem.
All right, but they've done studies on this, Keely. I don't want to get boring here. But even if you were to take the 1% and take all of their money, tax it 100%, do you know that couldn't keep Medicare, just Medicare in this country going for 3 years? Did you know that?
If we're to a point where the rich is paying 100% on their taxes, then we're on the road to socialism, and we're going to have a completely different type of public infrastructure.
No, what I told you is that even if you took all the money from the rich who you say are getting away with murder, if you took it all away, it wouldn't support one entitlement in this country for 3 years.
I don't believe that.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I just don't. That sounds completely ludicrous to me.
Do you know how much it will cost to mandate a $15 minimum wage across the country, to have everyone's student loan debt paid off, to pay for public college for everyone?
How much?
You have a rough idea on the cost of just the educational part, on the student loan part and the public college part?
Absolutely. $1.3 trillion in student debt. That's just a beginning. And then billions and billions of dollars.
Do you know how much you get fully taxing the 1%? 100%.
I don't know. Is it close to the number, the $16 trillion that we spent to bail out the banks?
Hear what I'm saying, because I just want this to be a math reminder. $1 trillion, which would barely keep Medicare going for 3 years. That's one area. Even if we repositioned it to go into this area that you want, we don't have enough to do it. So you're going to have to find other means of getting money, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think that that's a starting point. I mean, I think that all of these things require really comprehensive programs.
No doubt, no doubt. But do you fear killing? I guess what I'm asking you. You're passionate about this, and I admire that passion and your involvement in this. But I think you have to step back and look at the numbers that could be involved here, because they're going to be huge. Right. And a lot of those, a college behind you and institutions behind you, knowing that student debt is taken care of, it's forgiven and done. Do you think any of those guys, any of those administrators, any of those schools aren't going to leap at the opportunity to gouge even more, to raise tuitions even more, to raise room and board even more?
Well, I mean, ideally, if we have a big enough mass movement of people in the streets, we can actually prevent things like that from happening. I mean, that's one of the purposes.
All right. We'll see. We just saw, sorry, I apologize for that, but history suggests that doesn't always happen.
Twitter war turned trial for a Toronto man who was arrested for allegedly harassing 2 women on the social media site. But Elliott disagreed with the 2 women's campaign to publicly shame the creator of a video game where you punch a feminist in the face. The Twitter war broke out. The 2 women said in court they felt creeped out when Elliott continued to interact with them on Twitter, even when they said they blocked him. Now, systematic or continued unwanted or annoying actions falls under the legal definition of harassment. Elliott tweeted, @LadySnarksAlot. How'd you feel if I was so delusional to ask you to not retweet me? You want control? Use your email, not Twitter. But a judge will decide if you can control unwelcome comments on Twitter, or at least criminally prosecute the people that make them, even if they aren't necessarily threatening in nature. A decision is expected October 6th. If guilty, Elliott could face 6 months in jail. A verdict, Elliott's attorney says, could have serious implications.
Hey guys, so today we're going to protest at a university for fun.
And as you can tell by our signs here and our fedoras, we're obviously 100% serious.
Are you fucking kidding me?
No!
Feminists are sexist!
All feminists are sexist!
All women are sexist! All women are sexist!